Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are so excited to be here and we are ready to change our lives. Yes, hypnosis. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Hypnosis to change your life. Kathleen McCauley joining us here to talk more about the work she's doing from beautiful Tempe, Arizona, but not just in that state. I know she works with people all over via Zoom. So first and foremost, welcome. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Excited to be here. I want to say Happy New Year to you and your family. Is everything going all right so far in the new year?
Yes, absolutely. Happy New Year to you as well, and to everyone out there listening.
Thank you. Well, we're excited to learn today more about hypnosis and, of course, what you do. So let me first start off by asking, what exactly is hypnotherapy? And you, as you're certified in this. Let's talk a little about some of the things that it could really help with.
Absolutely. Yes. So my background has been in crisis counseling, and I shifted over to becoming certified as a hypnotherapist. And I love hypnotherapy because it's really an amplifier for change in our lives. And it's so effective in many areas. I work with a lot of people who struggle with anxiety or don't sleep well through the night.
Mm-hmm.
They want to just maybe improve their lifestyle, exercise more, eat more healthy foods. I work with a lot of people who have trauma in their lives that they have difficulty overcoming and integrating. I work with people that have relationship concerns, problems with communication, or why do I always seem to find myself with this type of a
The
partner?
same type of, guilty of this. We're going to have a good conversation. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there like me, so don't feel bad, right?
Absolutely. It happens to the best of us. And, I also work with a lot of people who have problems with addictions, whether that be smoking or drinking or food addictions, spending addictions, sex addictions, all those types of things. And I just really love it. Like I said, it's an amplifier for change. And I really love helping people get to that root issue, that core belief that's holding them back, so that we can change it and reframe it.
Beautiful. Well, Hypnosis to Change Your Life, LLC.com. That's the correct website to find you?
It is.
Beautiful. And by the way, you mentioned each session's individualized. It lasts about 2 hours, right? How do you know
Correct.
how many sessions a person needs? Explain that, that process.
Sure.
I don't want to get into how it works, because some people may also have a stigma of stage hypnotherapy out there, but that's not what we're talking about here. Okay.
Or
good.
Hollywood.
Yes.
Definitely.
But the pendulum swinging.
Yes.
No.
That's funny. So everybody's different. And so usually I see people anywhere from 1 to 3 or 4 times, just depending on what they're working on. Some issues are a little more difficult to work through than others. Usually what I do is I see the person for the initial session, and then once that's over, I have a better idea as to how to proceed. Sometimes we'll schedule a follow-up right then, and I usually push it out a couple weeks because I want to give them some time to integrate that information, to allow it to resonate with them. I give everybody a recording at the end of the session, and I ask them to listen to it. So I want to allow some time for that. And then for the people that I don't schedule follow-up right away, I usually just check in with them in about a week or so and see how they're doing. I make myself really available to all of my clients that I work with. I'm approachable through email or by call or text, because I really want them to have that support. They're working through it.
Beautiful. Well, how does it really work? Could you share a little bit about the mindset and the concept behind it so we can understand how it can heal us?
Sure, absolutely. So what I've noticed for a lot of people is that they are operating under old belief systems that they picked up when they were much younger. So when we're before the age of 7, we don't have the cognitive capacity to analyze information the way that we do as we get older. That's why you can tell a 5-year-old that Santa's bringing presents and they believe you. But if you say that to a 10 or a 12-year-old, they're going to be skeptical. And so when we're young, we take in information like sponges and we don't have the ability to question it. And then we form beliefs about ourselves and the world around us based on that information. With hypnotherapy, I help people analyze these beliefs that they're still operating under and kind of look at them rather through their adult eyes. Do they still make sense? Yeah, that made sense when I was 5 or 6 years old, but is it appropriate for me now? Is it helping me? Is it relevant in my life now? And if not, how can we change that? And there are a lot of techniques that we can do to sort of reframe things in our lives. Because if you think about it, it's not so much events that frame our lives, it's the meaning that we attach to them, the story we tell ourselves about them. Something bad happens to you, do you label yourself as a victim or a villain? Or do you think everyone's just out to get you? Or it's never going to work out for you? Or do you tell yourself that, yeah, life is full of obstacles, but that helps me to learn and grow? And this is what I learned from it, and I can put that behind me now and move forward.
And let me ask, there's it's probably hundreds of things that hypnosis could help with, right? Is there like
Absolutely.
an exact amount? I mean, but it's just many, right?
There are lots of things that it can definitely help with. And people have their own specialties or niche, if you will. I work a lot with people that are struggling with anxiety and trauma and self-sabotage. But I work with people for lots of other areas as well.
Wow. All right. Well, let me ask you this. You also talk a little bit about belief system, self-sabotage, neural linguistic
Linguistic
programming.
programming.
Yes.
Mhm.
Can you share what
Yeah.
that is a little bit to me?
Sure. So NLP or neuro linguistic programming is really just a model to help explain how our thoughts and behaviors are affected by language and the way that we perceive things in the world. We perceive everything through our senses. And
Mm-hmm.
kind of going back to, it's not so much the event that matters, but the way that we perceive it or what we tell ourselves about it. So you and I could both, witness an accident, for example, but you're going to perceive it just a little bit differently than I will, based on how you're
Mm-hmm.
feeling at the time and whether or not you've ever been in an accident before, if it reminds you of something. There's a whole lot of issues that can be involved in that. But
Yeah.
through NLP, we can sort of change the way that we look at that. We can change our focus.
Mm-hmm.
And a good example would be imagine you see the accident as like a snapshot or a photograph in front of you. And then you can start to kind of play with the way
Hmm.
that you imagine that. And for
Mm-hmm.
anybody out there that feels that they don't visualize things really well, it's okay. You can imagine, you can pretend, and it works just as well. I promise. I know that sounds a little off, but I promise it works just as well if you imagine and pretend. So you just imagine you see it as a photograph
Yeah.
and then take all the color out of it. Imagine it
Yeah.
turns white. And then imagine it gets blurry or pixelated. So you can't really see that image anymore.
Yeah.
And then you can, if there's any volume, turn the volume down.
Okay.
Then you can make it smaller. Then you can sort of push it off to your periphery and allow it to kind of float on out to the horizon as you continue to breathe deeply. And then notice how you feel a little differently about that event. The
Hmm.
reverse is true also. You can take events that are really positive
Okay.
and make them more colorful, bring them closer to you, turn up the volume, step into that photograph and allow it to become 3-dimensional. And notice how that makes you feel. and breathe in that emotion and allow it to get stronger and stronger within you. And so these are just some examples of how you can take an event, any event, and sort of change the way that you feel about it a little bit, dampen some of that emotional intensity, or turn it up if it's a good thing.
And by the way, I just want to point out how we can contact you again. It's changeyourlifellc.com. You also have a Facebook page. And do you want to share a phone number?
The best way to contact me would be email at hypnosisbykat@gmail.com. And that's Kat, K-A-T.
Perfect.
It's just a little shorter than my
We got to say with a K.
Email. Yes, with a K.
And could I just read some of the reviews on your site? So it's always good to hear what other people are saying. And can I just ramble up for a second here?
Sure, absolutely.
There's someone that you worked with named Robert, and he says that I'm sleeping much differently than 2 weeks ago. I have not taken any sleeping pills. I have listened to my audio recording every night at bedtime. You had asked if you had a magic wand, what would I want you to do for me? I said I wanted to fall asleep in 5 minutes, sleep for 7 hours, and wake up rested. For the most part, that is happening just as I requested. I am so grateful for someone who has this type of problem sleeping, or even a phobia. Clearly you can help with. And can you just share a little more details about this audio recording? I know you mentioned earlier. So when you're doing a session, you record it, and how often do you have to listen to it for in order to have this change or behavior change happen in your body?
Absolutely. So I don't record the session, but what I do is once the client has left, I take all of we call it like the magic wand question. Like, what do you want to achieve as a result of this? Take all of that information and I ask them to be really specific about it. And I incorporate that into a 15 to 20 minute recording of just getting them nice and relaxed and hypnotized. And then I add in all of that information that they want to be achieving as a result of the session, just really focusing on that through different techniques, visualization, guided imagery, whatever is appropriate for that person at the time. And then I just ask them to listen to it every day for at least a month.
Okay.
Because our brains are neuroplastic. And the more we can repeat and practice, the more readily we can make that true in our lives. Amazing. Just like when we were in school and we had to do flashcards, and
my kids are 6 and 8. We're doing the first graders trying to learn how to, read and spell. So I have the flashcards.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It does help. Yeah.
It does. It really, really does. And that's the other reason that I like to give it a little time in between sessions. It's not like regular talk therapy counseling, which is great for people too, but it's just a little different than that.
And then someone else was talking about, let me get their name. Sorry, Michelle with 2 L's, like my mom. It's now been 24 days since my session with you, and I'd like to give you some feedback on how things have changed for me in that short of time. I've never done anything like hypnosis before, and everyone listening today, this could be you, right? You've tried other ways maybe to get rid of the belief that we're holding back from moving forward, which a lot of us have. The session itself was very interesting indeed. I was a bit amazed of the awareness I had gotten about why I felt the way I did about a situation in my life. I got such great clarity as I didn't understand myself feeling that way. At the time of the session, I couldn't quite connect with what was coming up to my current problem, but now I can see clearly. And I am not worthy enough belief originated when I was a child, and I had held it in all these years. So this person was unconsciously coming into play every time, trying to move forward. And this was obviously on her mind. And I love the session, felt completely at ease with her, and completely in control of myself. I have been listening to my audio every day. And we'll be honest, at start, I thought it began to force myself to change. And then as days went and the weeks went on, I have automatically begun to perform all this and perform better, not just in one area of my life, but all of them. Now I'm effortlessly moving forward, and the results are showing up. What I love most is that I am worthy enough, Michelle says now, and she's getting stronger. And this whole belief is, so this is amazing. So even helping with childhood beliefs that quickly to make you feel better, and all in, wow, a session or 2 or 3. And then how do you know? Because some people may need, do we call it a tune-up? What is the proper terminology for the field?
Absolutely.
I'm
Yes.
sorry, I'm not in the automotive field
Yes.
either, so I'm just
That's okay.
throwing
Thanks
things
for
out.
saying that. I really appreciate that. It nothing makes me feel better than getting that positive feedback. I really, really appreciate it from the clients that I work with. And I just guide them. They do the work. I do have a lot of people reach out to me at about 6 or 12 months after their last session saying, "Hey, I
Mm-hmm.
just I want a refresher," or "This is going on now
Yeah.
and I would like to address this now." Because sometimes things come in layers, we realize, okay, now I'm feeling better about myself, but now this is going on. And maybe I'm realizing that my relationship is not appropriate for me anymore, or I want to find a better job, or I'm ready to change my relationship with food, or whatever it is. But we change and grow in layers. It's not like we turn 40 and we've learned everything that there is to learn in our whole entire lives and we're just finished. That'd be boring.
I sure would be. I get it. I get it. Hypnosis to Change Your Life, LLC.com. First and foremost, we got to thank our guest for being here, Kathleen McCauley, joining us. We're talking today about maybe you have self-sabotage, maybe you have an addiction. I first originally heard about hypnosis many years ago. My mother wanted to quit smoking. Well, no, I take that back. She didn't want to quit smoking. We all wanted her to quit smoking. So dad sent her to hypnosis. Guess what? It didn't work. But why is that? Because she didn't until probably a week before she passed, she had lung cancer, she was still smoking. So it was,
Sorry.
you have
Yeah.
to have a will to want to change, right? We also
Sure.
have to
Yeah.
put that part of it out there. You really have to want the change. You can't make
Absolutely.
someone do hypnosis to change something.
Correct. I don't have any control over anybody. I can't force anything. It really helps the person take their control back. Because if you think
Yeah.
about it, a lot of times we get hypnotized to do things that we don't really want to do. Most of my smokers have been hypnotized to smoke.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of changing that, letting that part go, taking control of their lives back rather than giving it to the cigarette companies.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. If anytime I'm working with somebody, I always want to know, uh, why are you wanting to make this change now? And that magic wand question, what's it going to look like when you've achieved your goal? How will your life be different? How will you be feeling differently? How will you know it's working?
Mm-hmm. All right. What other aspect did you want to kind of talk about today? We're back again soon? Are you back next week or the week
I am
after?
not.
Okay.
Um, I am. I'm open for business, but I'm not back again for another interview at this moment.
Okay. So what else
But
did you want everyone to know?
just that, I offer free phone consults. If you have any questions, you want any information, or you can always shoot me an email. I I really enjoy doing this. This is really my passion. I'm happy to speak with anybody about this. You're not locked into anything. It's a free consult. If you just want to learn a little more about hypnosis, and how it can help you change your life, please reach out to me. I'm passionate about it. I love talking about it. And we all have the ability to create the life that we desire. We all have that power within us. And I just help you find it. And I'd be really excited to speak with any of you out there. And I look forward to hearing from you.
Oh, well, thank you. And you offer an initial discovery call, right? If someone is
Correct.
interested.
Sure. Yeah.
Um,
No
and
obligation. Just email or email me and we'll schedule a call and set it up.
did you want to share one of the quotes that you shared with us, or do you want me to share it for you?
Sure, you
It
can
was from
read it. I don't
Oprah
have it in front of
Winfrey.
me right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
just look.
She mentions, I've come to believe that each of us has a personal calling that's unique as a fingerprint. And the best way to succeed is to discover what you love and, find a way to offer it to others in the form of service, working hard, and also allowing the energy of the universe to lead you. I love it.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's
And
perfect.
who do you credit for your start in this field?
I've always been interested in mindset and psychology and what makes people tick. And Why is it that some people can come from really humble and difficult backgrounds and be really successful, like Oprah Winfrey,
Mm-hmm.
whereas others can be, come from really wealthy backgrounds and really
Yeah.
like a silver spoon in your mouth kind of thing. I lost my train of thought for a second, but then they don't kind of achieve as much in their lives. And why is
Mm-hmm.
that? And so I've always been really interested in that. And I studied psychology a little bit in high school, and then I went on to college and studied psychology and then clinical social work. And it's just always been my passion. I just like working with people. I like helping people achieve their goals and reach their dreams and be the best version of themselves possible.
Beautifully said. I love it. So if you are just tuning in a little late here, we want to remind you Kathleen McCauley is available for that free discovery call, Hypnosis Change Your Life, LLC.com. And by the way, just to confirm your background with your education and certification, could you just share a little bit about how that works as well?
Absolutely. Yes. So my background is in crisis counseling. So I'm a licensed clinical social worker and substance abuse counselor in the state of Arizona. And I'm also certified as a hypnotherapist internationally. So when I work with people, I don't focus so much on the clinical social work part of it. I don't do, mental health diagnoses and things like that. I work as a hypnotherapist, but I like to let people know my background just so they know that I have that experience and that I know how to work with people that are dealing with trauma or anxiety or addictions.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for your help, for being here, for joining us today, and looking forward to the next time we get to connect.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And
Thank
Happy New Year
you.
to everybody.
Happy New Year as well. And to all of our listeners and viewers, please stay tuned. More of the shows coming up after the break. And time to make that change. Come on. Let's grab it by the horns here at the bull, right? It's the beginning of the year. And know that you can make amazing changes. Reach out. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.